mission's clear. We are the tip of the spear. A spark became a fire. Now the fire's burning here. Together we will fly. The tip of the spear.
Welcome, everybody, to March's edition of Tip of the Spear, a Veterans Roundtable. How is everybody doing? Let's start up top. Gunny, how are you, sir?
Good, man. Just it's ironic that Tip of the Spear lands on National Medal of Honor Day this year. So just been thinking about the guys and the women that have received that medal over the course of our country, and especially the guys that I've met over the past 10, 15 years that wear that medal for not only their branch of service but their brothers that didn't make it home.
Definitely. Brian Roof, how are you, sir?
Well, shit, how could you not be motivated after hearing that tip of the spear? You know what I mean? Damn, bro, I just wanted to get up and start throwing shit around, but doing well, having an amazing day, bro. Looking forward to joining. I know it's been a while, and great to be back on with an amazing bunch of folks.
Heck yeah, man. Well, welcome back. I know you had a lot going on with moving and everything else, so definitely welcome back. Mr. JJ, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great. I'm just happy to be here. I have no complaints about anything else that's going on, and I don't really have anything to report. I'm just glad I was able to make it this month.
Heck yeah. Well, welcome back, my friend. Welcome back. Mr. Travis, how are you, sir?
Doing all right. Just getting it done.
Man, you stay busy. Let me tell you that. You stay busy. I follow your stuff, and
Are you
stay
approaching
busy.
like 500 interviews or episodes, bro?
Yeah, I'm approaching year 10, 500, like 14 more to go, and then I'll hit that number. 10 years.
Holy crap.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Really exciting time, and nice like tonight, make it all worth it.
Heck yeah. Mr. Matthew Johnson, how are you, sir?
Well, I'm doing well. I'm here just like everybody else, working hard, hustling. I do have a request. All you politicians keep texting me for money. I'm broke as shit. I pay taxes, so stop doing it. I don't want to give you any money.
I haven't got any of those text messages
Bro,
yet.
I keep getting all of the fight is on. We need to win. I'm not panicking. Send me money. Dude, you know the government's shut down right now, right? Like, why would I send you fucking money? Can you give me a TSA agent's number? I'll send them money instead.
Yeah. That's
right on.
That's crazy. So speaking of TSA, I'm just going to jump in there because this is something that was in the news here recently. Trump is talking about putting ICE agents in the airport.
He's not talking about it. They're already there.
They're already there?
Yep.
And it's not every airport.
Okay.
But they're already in the airports.
And they're really just hanging out and talking to groups like we all would if we went there. So they're really not doing anything to help.
They're not doing anything.
They're hanging out, dude.
Coffee.
Yep. Well, see, I thought they were supposed to be doing like the stuff the TSA guys were doing, like the security checkpoints and stuff.
I mean, if you listen to the lady from the TSA I saw on the news in Houston the other day, those guys are highly trained to send your bag through an X-ray scanner and then watch the monitor when you walk through the meter. Just saying.
Okay.
They tell you to come over here because there's a little red dot on your pecker, or something. So.
Yeah, but they said the ICE agents aren't trained for that, so they can't do that. But it's funny because here, everybody goes to the George Bush Airport because that's the major busy one because there's no line in Hobby in Houston, so they got to go to George Bush. But like 2 minutes apart, they showed like a line, and then they showed like the downstairs was empty because like, oh, it started moving. And I was like telling Becky, I'm like, that terminal at George Bush is under construction right now. So of course they're standing in line right in the front. Now there are people that said at 4:30 in the morning before they opened, right, the lines were long as shit because you fear-mongered everybody into getting there too early. So of course everybody was there way before they needed to be. But
I'll tell you, here in Cincinnati, the regular security line at 4:30 in the morning before they opened was backed up all the way into the concourse.
Oh yeah, same here.
The clear line was backed all the way up into the concourse. TSA pre was not. It took me, I was probably 50 people back on Friday. And when they opened up and started taking bags and scanning everybody's stuff, from the time I checked my bag to the time I got to my gate was 45 minutes at Cincinnati. There was a family in front of me, probably 15 or 20 people in front of me. They didn't get to their gate for another 45 minutes to an hour after I did.
Gee.
But coming home out of West Palm Beach on Saturday, one person in front of me. That was it.
Nice.
Man, yeah, that's crazy. So yeah, I guess when I heard what he was, talking about, when I heard the news story about them putting ICE agents in the airports to do, to help cover for the TSA agents that are not coming into work because they're not getting paid. Which I don't blame them if they're not getting paid. I wouldn't go into work either, unless there was a clear definition of hey, you're going to get back pay once we go back to back to work. Which I don't know if that's the case or not.
I mean, they
So-
should, but at the same time, like I saw something today, 47% of 2026 they have been in a shutdown and have not gotten paid.
Yeah.
So for over half of where we're at now, there's been a shutdown and haven't gotten paid. They have a whole bunch of people that aren't going to come back because they're not getting paid. Because why would you? Like, that's a lot of risk, right? When you're trying to pay bills, and then think about it. They're putting ICE agents at the airports. Now they can say that things are getting crazier with immigration or whatever they want to do because we had to put these people here. It's all like chessboard moving pieces, man. Like,
yeah.
I always say, look, try to look at what's really going on. Like, get a peek behind that curtain because there's more than just you can see in front of you on the news.
Yeah, and I feel for those guys anyway because they're not super highly paid to begin with. So, I mean, for them to not be taking pay, I wouldn't blame them going to find employment somewhere else.
Well, I mean,
some
good
of them's
luck in
already got
today's job market.
Yeah,
Yeah.
some of them already have second jobs. So
Yeah.
it's definitely crazy. So, all right, Travis, let's talk about your story, my friend.
Yeah, let me paste this link in the main chat and the private chat because and you'll understand why. Okay, I get an email from a woman named Emily who reached out to me saying, "Hey, my nephew is in a real bad situation. He is probably if I don't get him help, he'll be thrown in jail for domestic terrorism charges." I'm like, okay, that's not done halfway. And she's like, the thing is, it was done while he was calling the VA crisis line. I'm like, okay. And we've all gotten crank emails, call to actions before, every one of us here, right? And you got to take everything with a grain of salt. So I'm like, okay, let's look at this. And the link I have in there, that gentleman is Joseph J.J. Millett's lawyer, who is trying to get these charges dropped. And talking to his aunt and his cousin today, his cousin is a professor, I think, out of University of Albany, New York. Joseph served in the National Guard and was deployed to Afghanistan twice. He suffered shrapnel damage while he was over there and came back home and became a correction officer for that his county and but had problems, right? And he eventually got help from the VA. Right? Sign up for the VA help, get the VA help. And in January, one of his buddies passed away from suicide, and it really put him in a downward spiral. So he went back to, and this is what his aunt is saying, because you're not going to read this in all the articles that are out there right now in the news medium. He went back to the VA, said, I need help, and they adjusted his meds. After they adjusted his meds, she says, we could notice that, family members noticed that he was acting differently. And so on February 19th, he starts making calls on the VA crisis line that, I'm not right, and allegedly he made what was construed as domestic terrorism or mass casualty event statements. The Vermont State Police asked him, hey, can you turn yourself in? He goes to drive there, pulls over, while he's there to kind of collect himself and turns himself in. And the thing is, he had a pocket knife, a bulletproof vest on, and his revolver loaded. But walked up to the police station, handed it all over to him, and turned himself in without any issue. And they got him into VA care. And then 3 days later, they're like, it's great that you called. It's a bad situation that happened, but you're safe. No one's hurt. We feel that you did the right thing. And according to his aunt, they weren't going to press charges. 3 days later, he's in the VA care facility being seen. And the district attorney, whose name is Vincent Iluzzi Jr., who is the state's attorney for Essex County, Vermont, filed domestic terrorism charges against him because he felt that the transcript from the phone records was enough to say that this person was a danger to society. And his lawyer is a veteran and saying, no, this is because the meds were wrong. And the minute they got his meds situated right again, his aunt's like, 4 days later, you could see him come back and understand that this is a really messed up situation. And the concern is from his lawyer, from other veterans groups that are there in the VA, is like, hey, if this is allowed to go through and the judge rules that the district attorney has a case, you're going to have other veterans who either A, won't seek help, or B, take the other solution on the way out. And what could have been, to me, okay, all right, meds get screwed up. I've understood that. We all understand that meds can get screwed up. But the thing is, he called for help. He called the VA crisis line. And yeah, you could say it was a long way around to put it succinctly. But he's alive right now. No one's hurt, and he's getting the help that he needs. We should be applauding this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if we're going to use the same standard of proof to put this, veteran in jail, when someone says death to America, or I want to throw firebombs at somebody, or I want to kill all police officers, we should have the jails full of these people, but we don't. I just, and normally I don't get so wrapped around this, but I'm telling you, I'm going to have his aunt and his cousin and his lawyer on my show over the weekend, and you can make the determination then if these people are just, making a big to-do about nothing, or is this a veteran getting railroaded? Right now, I'm going to err on the side of the veteran and say, okay, no one had to chase him down. He didn't hold himself up. He didn't take anybody hostage. He willingly drove himself to the state police barracks and gave them everything they wanted and calmly turned himself in because he needed help. And yeah, I don't know what the transcripts were. I haven't read them. They're not available. But that one action alone tells me that he knew he needed help, and he got help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's just how I feel about it. I know people may disagree with me, and justifiably so, but I'm like, we can't tell veterans to ask for help and then say, you know what? I know you're in this suicidal state or in this weird state. Guess what? You're going to go to jail for 20, and the sentencing guidelines on, he could be in jail for 20 years.
Yeah.
That's not an exaggeration, because Vermont in 2018 passed their first round of this, which, and I'm not a big fan of the ACLU, but the ACL said, hey, you're going to have a situation where this comes up. In 2023, they made the guidelines more strict. And sure enough, in 2026, we have a veteran that is looking at a long time in jail, losing everything he has for asking for help. And I'm going to, talk to these people more. I'm going to get a hold of his lawyer. And then, if I really feel that this is warranted, I'm going to take action however I can.
This is a multi-tiered issue right here, actually, because what's the first thing if you go into the VA with a mental health issue, what's the first thing that they do? They throw medication at it. So let's look at the next tier, right? So first of all, the VA did wrong because they throw medication at veterans, and there could be reasons behind that more than just wanting to help that person. I believe otherwise, but that's a conversation for another day. But then there's the next tier, and that's that when the medication didn't start acting right, he started having thoughts, but he called to try to get help for that. And so I agree with what you're saying, Travis, The very next part to that, though, is that you brought up that people make threats all the time and they don't get prosecuted for it. Well, what's the difference between a psychopath and somebody who is not a psychopath? It's the person that has the the thoughts and don't take action on those thoughts. Well, he didn't take action on those thoughts. He turned himself in. So is this service member in the right? I think that the VA should have done something long before, or the crisis center should have done something for this guy long before it got to the point where there was any sort of a prosecution or anything like that. And it sounded like that's where it was promised, but now they're wanting to do something about it. I think this is wrong.
Yeah, I would agree with you. It's multi-tiered, like you said, and I've talked to numerous veterans that have been on medication for PTSD, whatever. VA just ups and changes like the medication. They're like, oh, well, we're gonna put you on something new, and the problem is the medication. Like, all right, so the therapist puts them on this medication, then they change it. Well, what they don't do is talk with the primary care doctor and see what other medication that veteran's on, because there is I forget the name. It starts with the T. What's going on, Steve-O? It starts with the T, and it has an adverse reaction to a lot of the other medication that we as veterans we take.
If it's a
And
VA therapist, they have access to all the other meds.
right, but they don't see it. They don't look at it, is what I'm saying. Is they don't for some reason, like when I asked the veterans that I have talked to, they're like, well, they didn't even look at my other medication. They're just like, hey, we're going to change your medicine to this. Because whether the veteran goes in there and says, hey, the medicine's not working, or the VA just decided to change it. And
I'm sure it varies from different,
Yeah.
VAs
Right.
to VA, because I can't imagine all of them operate like that, because that would be horrible if they're just sandwiching more stuff on top of more. You know what I mean?
right. Well, so the medicine that I'm talking about is it starts with a T, and I can't think of the full name right now off the top of my head, but numerous veterans that I've talked to have been switched to that medicine, and they said they start hallucinating and seeing things that are not really there. But in this case, the veteran knew something was wrong, so he reached out to 988, said, "Hey, I got a problem." Now, like you said, we don't know what the transcript says. According to some news articles out there, he threatened to bodily harm and then also mass casualty harm as well. Whether or not that's true or not, I don't know, because I haven't seen the transcripts. Me personally, he went to the police department, turned himself in. That's where it should end. He's getting the help. He is better now. There should not be.
Yeah, and to be clear, the I think it's the Vermont State Police said, "Hey, we're not going to file charges because he came to us, did everything we asked him to do, turned himself in, and is in care right now." It's this attorney that wants to take this further.
Well,
So it sounds.
I'll play a little bit of a devil's advocate on this part. I mean,
Sure.
in terms of let's say the operator who received the call, and I assure you, these people on 988 are not like therapists. I imagine a lot of them are probably volunteers, right? And I think without seeing the actual transcripts, it's really hard for me to fully understand what the context was behind what he said. Was it like, I'll fucking go to this event and I'm going to slaughter everybody at this particular event? Like he named something, or was it more of a blatant statement? Like, I just feel
don't
like I
know.
want to kill motherfuckers. I mean, I'm just saying, like, for me, that's where I'm at. And so the person on the other line, right now, say they don't react to this, and he decides, and he ends up going and does carry out with what he decides to do. Now who's going to be at fault? You know what I mean? So now this operator, whoever was on the line, because I imagine that's the person who had to turn it over and say, hey, this guy just about said he was going to do X, Y, and Z to so and
Right.
so.
No, I mean, a mandated reporter, no problem with that. No problem with that at all. Right.
Now, and then that's it, right? Now my thing is once he turned himself in, I agree at that point in time, this shouldn't be out in the media and and for everybody to feast on. And now with the blatant statements that they put out there, that he went out there and said he was gonna mass murder people and all that stuff, it's all just blanket statements. There's no transcripts behind what he said. He could have made a very small remark versus something really huge. We don't really know that extent of what he said, right? Until I guess they fully go through it. Now, I imagine these lawyers or whoever went in through it said that they had enough evidence there to move forward, that he said enough to hang himself or whatever. I don't know what it may be. But obviously, when they do go to trial, they will play these these recordings. And if he is in there saying that he's going to go mass handle someone, that might be not a very easy thing for him to fight. But then on the flip side, 988 Press 1 should be a safe place for veterans to lose their shit, come unscrewed a little bit, you know what I mean? But also they need the other person on the other line's got to figure out, well, how the hell can I help this guy? He's done lost his shit now, and I can't even calm him down, and now he's threatening life and all this stuff.
I think, and I apologize, John, late. There's a couple of things that are sort of similar over the pond, and the approach to the veteran in distress very much depends on who receives the distressed person at that point in time in their training. And so in an ideal world, we understand that what a person says isn't who they are necessarily, but other people under that stress in that moment may not appreciate that. And you'd hope in the veterans environment, they are trained to understand that, but it's not always the case. These are volunteers. And then if you look at it from a purely diagnostic point of view, so there's a book called the DSM-5, the Diagnostic Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. It's not great for complex issues. It wants everyone to fit into a simple box. And it's a recognized problem with the system. It's a system, it's not perfect. But some of the stuff you're describing, again, it happens in the UK, which is you'll get a medication for one thing, but that causes a side effect. So you'll get the medication to offset the side effect, but that causes something else. And you get this cycle of medications to offset other medications. And essentially, it's an imperfect solution to an awful problem that we just haven't paid enough attention to give everyone the foundations to treat the veterans in distress the way they ought to be treated. But it shouldn't happen, but it does, and it's terrible what it does.
But back to what Brian was saying, if they're mandatory reporters, I don't understand why something wasn't done the first or second, or I don't know how many times this guy called in, because if there would have been some sort of intervention, then it wouldn't have even gotten to the point where it is now, or maybe it could have been worse off for the guy. I mean, we just don't know how that would have been. But what if he wouldn't have turned himself in? What if he went out there and did something bad? The crisis line wasn't necessarily doing their job either.
Right.
But again, you don't have the transcripts. You don't know how many times he called.
Right.
Maybe he calls the first time and he's just, hey, I'm not feeling good. This is this. And that person that is trying to assist him at that time is not who he needed to talk to. So he gets frustrated and he hangs up, right? So he calls back again and gets a different person. And again, that person's not helping. You're not going to get the perfect person every single time you call the crisis line, right?
And also, what are the handover like as well? Like, when each person calls, is there a handover? So this person's called already. This is what happened. Because if it's not,
they can see notes.
So I mean, again, how good are the notes?
Yeah.
And even outside the veterans community, we see this happening, right? Which is, domestic abuse situations. The wife or the husband calls and calls and calls. It's not taken seriously, and suddenly that they're murdered.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a critical problem here about how we deal with mental health challenges and how we address them and how we take them seriously, and don't just say they're the boy crying wolf.
Yeah, I mean, reading basically, just the baseline story of it's really hard without, there's to me, a lot of details for me to make a definitive, way to stand on it. I mean, of course, being a veteran and knowing losing your shit and saying some god awful things spitting out of your mouth. I've been there, dude. Been there 100%. If someone was fucking recording me while I was saying these things, I probably could be in jail or something to that effect, but I wasn't calling, someone who was a mandated reporter or something to that effect. And like we said, we don't know how many times he was throwing rocks over there and how many times he dinged it and, what he was doing in terms of that matter. because
Well-
all it does say is that he did call multiple times. That didn't put a number on it for me. And then it also just gave the blanket statement of he talked about doing like a mass, casualty of killing. You know what I mean? So it's very blanket statement without any definitive action
So
there. For me.
his aunt Emily and his cousin Aaron are going to come on and talk with me and answer a lot of these things, probably Saturday or Sunday. And I'm scribbling, taking notes. I didn't have a lot of time during lunch, but I didn't get the sense that this was just, for sensationalism's sake. Like, hey, my nephew's going to jail for a long time, and it seems like he tried to get help. And I keep going back to if the Vermont State Police didn't see a need to charge him with anything, that to me is a big tip that this might be getting blown up more than it is. And I'm hoping to talk to his lawyer. They said they're going to try and make him available to me to tell what he thinks as a lawyer and a veteran. So, and then also what's not being told is the local VA and the VFW up there are marshaling the troops to try to get him a fair shake. So they're meeting with the lawyers tomorrow to discuss what happens next. It really bothers me because again, we tell our brothers and sisters, pick up the phone. You're going to get help, and hey, and especially if you're a law enforcement officer, correction officer, first responder, you can ask for help and not have anything. There's no blowback. Well, yeah, there is.
Yeah,
and I just I'm not like waving the flag, circle the wagons, but depending upon what you all think of the conversation I have with his aunt and cousin and sister and possibly lawyer, it may be time to.
no,
So that's all I'm asking. That's all I'm asking.
Yeah, because I feel like they're really horny for the guy, man, and they really are. They're going after him hard. And for me, what kind of evidence do they have for them to really want to prosecute him so much? You know what I mean? And who's leading the way at prosecuting him? Is it the 988 hotline? I mean, who's?
No, it's the Essex County state attorney.
yeah.
So that
Sounds like the state attorney.
Yeah.
It sounds like the state attorney's trying to run for a different office, and he's trying to make an example out of this.
Yeah,
guy.
that example. That's what I'm saying. It's like I can't grasp why they would spend, because they're going to spend a lot of resources on this case right here.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
they're
A
gonna
lot of
spend a lot
money.
of resources on all of this stuff like that right now. You have to think about the situation that's going on. You got to look at, I don't know, I think for me, listening to everybody talk about it and the situation, the story, it's like more of a big picture thing. One thing that I would say, Travis, I agree with you 100%. If anything, if this turns out the wrong way or a bad way or whatever, all the work that's been done over the last 5 or 6 years to get veterans to feel comfortable to come in and talk and know that it's okay to have an issue and not be like all of us on here when it was like, I can't go say nothing because if I do, I can't get promoted, can't go to this job and do all this stuff. They've worked very hard to make you have the ability to come forward. So I hope that for that sake, we can at least make that come through. But you have to look at what's going on in the country right now. All this fraud stuff, and you have all this immigration stuff, and you have now this government shutdown stuff. There's a lot of blows on both sides of the aisle that are happening. This just so happens to be one where they see an opportunity. I don't know if it's necessarily somebody running for an office or whatever, but
Make an example.
It's a veteran to make an example of, right? If it's those guys that don't want guns on the street or people that are wherever they're at, they're going to jump for that because at the end of the day,
let us
they're
not
definitely
forget,
not.
Just I'm sorry, Matt. Veterans have made the FBI's list of domestic terrorism groups. We are considered a prime group for domestic terrorism by the FBI.
Yep.
No, I understand all that. I got that piece, but my point is,
I'm sorry.
They're talking about that he called the hotline, he made these threats. He turned himself in with what you said he turned himself in with. But nobody's talking about the fact that he had a mental health issue that he went to get help for, and we need to help him, which is what the message is everywhere else when you see this stuff happen in school shootings and all these other things, right? The first thing they point to is the mental health, and they try to figure it out, right? So it just, at the end of the day, unfortunately for him, it's just that he did the right thing, and now they're going to try to make an example of him, which is of everything that's going on now. that's going to hurt the entire veteran community on
Yeah.
top of him. And that's the piece that I agree with you with Travis on the whole. Like, we've worked really hard to get it to where people can come in and look for help. And now this guy feels like the police, who it's their job to investigate, by the way, and it's their job to see if it's credible or not. And if they said no, you're just going to say yes because you want to, because you want to, I don't know, you're trying to champion something or whatever, like everybody else said. That's a bad situation. However, too, though, at the same time, I'm interested to see your conversation, Travis, because I would like to see everybody talking and see what they say and hear everybody out, right? Because there's always the left and the right side of a story, and the middle is where it meets. And so, like, where does it come in and that point, you know? Because this story could say he called several times. That could have been like he called his aunt and then he called the hotline, or he called the hotline 4 times.
Exactly.
We have no idea, because they're only going to give you what's going to charge you up in those things, whether it's us on the veteran side going, that's jacked up, or that same exact story is going to cause people to be like, see, this is the problem. That story lined it up perfect for people to react the way that they wanted them to. And that's the other problem right now, I feel like, with journalism, is they don't want to, like, what's the story, right? Like, let's be objectionable about it. And you don't see that happening. And it hurts guys like him. And that's the part that's going to be, you know, difficult to watch when all this stuff plays out, is what is really true and what is theater. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
So
not
JJ
only
said
does-
it earlier. He made a really good point earlier, is that Mike, if he called multiple times, did they not have a house call at any point during one of those calls to go check on him and say, hey, bro, you all right, dude? Like, you know, like, you definitely seem like you need a little bit of a house call, or, you know, a check-in on. I mean, did they?
But you also
send
don't
any
hear what the
resources, or-
hotline did to help him too, right? You're not hearing what they may have put in place, which they may have done some stuff. They're leaving out those key components. In my opinion, from looking at the world today, they're leaving out the key components that give you the real story to in the beginning of where we're at right now, for me to feel like on the same wavelength as Travis, of like, I'm leaning towards the veteran, but they're not going to give you that information because that doesn't sell tickets. You know what I mean?
No, domestic.
No, all they want to say is
domestic-
a veteran made a threat about mass casualties. You know what I mean? And they don't want to put no context behind it, and that's the problem. When you go and look at the social media little blurb that I saw, it's literally, dude, like about a paragraph, and it's just keywords. You know what I mean? Without any
Clickbait, dude.
potatoes.
Yeah, it's definitely clickbait, rage bait. Pippa, can you see the comments? Because there was a question over there.
Yeah. Yes, I did. So to answer the question, I'm not
Careful
aware.
how you answer it.
So again.
So be careful how you answer it.
They'll come and take me away. No, so I'm not aware of any examples where this has happened, right? I believe it's a genuine fear that people have, but what people forget is legally under UK law, the UK law recognises mental health conditions as a disability, and therefore you are protected in the Disabilities Act in the first place. So just saying that you have a mental health situation doesn't get it taken away. And I was trying to think of like famous people as an example, and who Americans might know. Stephen Fry, I don't know if you heard of him. He's one of our favorites people. Like, he's very open about his mental challenges. Fair enough, he doesn't have kids. The other person, he probably won't know, but she was in the army and one of our Olympians, Dame Kelly Holmes. She was one of our athletes who won gold. She's also talked about it, and she does have kids. So, you know, we can talk about it openly, but I think the fear is real. And I think, you know, when you are a parent, you fear being judged for not being perfect and not coping and not having it together all the time, even though I don't think anyone has it together all the time. So I think the fear is a real thing, but I'm not aware of any actual incidents when this has happened. And in fact, Prince William talks about his health stuff as well. I mean, actually, no one's going to take his kids away because, you know, that'd be really complicated. But I think the fear is real, but I don't know of any instance where it's actually happened. The only time children are taken away legally under UK law is if there is actual evidence of harm to the children already, or if, for example, it's not to do with mental health per se, but like the combination of factors. So like if the person has a mental health challenge and they can't look after themselves, and by default they're not looking after their kids, that would be cause to take away, and that'd be local social services. When you, William, when you write about the UK government, to me that means like London and Parliament it wouldn't be at that level. It'll be at a local government level if it happened, but only for those circumstances.
Yeah, that's kind of like here in America as well. So sounds like it's about the same. So hopefully that answered your question, Steve-O. Oh man. All right. So I saw an article. I'm trying to remember where I saw it. It was on military.com. And this is a good article because it was a Pearl Harbor survivor. And he's celebrating his 106th birthday on he was celebrating it somewhere with a bunch of other veterans, military. It was some group, I forget what it was, but I thought it was pretty neat. Here he's a Pearl Harbor survivor and he's 106 years old and he's celebrating his birthday with
He's still hanging out and partying.
Still hanging out and partying. That's friggin' that's
Marine
amazing.
thing.
So it was a good story.
Was he a Marine? Or
No, he
had
was.
to be, bro.
I think he was Navy.
Navy.
Oh, that would
Navy.
make sense too
Marine
if he's
or
out with his friends
either
drinking.
way.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Drunken sailor.
Yeah.
Not quite the same, but I don't know if you guys have heard of the Glastonbury Festival in the UK. It's a big music festival, and I volunteered on the radios to do like security and like first aid. And someone sadly did die, but he had been to every single Glastonbury festival since it started. He was like 80s. He went out the way he wanted to go. I was like, that's what you want to do. If that's what you love, you do that, man. It was sad, but it was awesome.
Heck yeah. I mean,
can someone riddle me why these guys back in the day drank, smoked, ate, all the bad stuff every day and lived to be 100 years old, and you have people running 6 miles a day, being vegan, who dropped dead at 52 years old. I'm just saying, there's
younger.
Because man, these guys use like natural products and stuff. Now these guys get all this synthetic and all this fake stuff.
They grew everything in their garden.
Yeah,
they hunted.
Like
they
were rolling
fishing,
real tobacco and like making that. I mean, they weren't buying all this. Yeah, these guys were like.
Different food, different time,
stuff
man.
Free now, man. I mean, everybody wants their stuff free. Back then, these fools worked for their shit, and they were putting calories into everything they were doing. Here, I mean, you might lose a couple of calories doing a couple of slides here and there, Doug. But I mean, what after like 2,000, there's a calorie,
It just amazes me.
It's different times, bro.
They're gangsters
They're
too. I love
different.
talking to those dudes.
Yeah, they're just built different.
It's the quality of the food, though, as well. Like, I do think it makes a massive difference. And the foundations. So, like, you guys wouldn't have heard, my parents grew up on the edge of rationing post-war because of, obviously, World War II stuff. And, but that generation just seemed to be so resilient because they ate good food because they had to only eat what they could have, and it was really controlled, and there wasn't too much sugar. And my mum's 76. We just spent the weekend in Italy wandering around. She was doing like 15,000 steps a day, and she was keeping up. I mean, not everyone can do that, but she's had cancer. She's broken a hip. She's done all sorts of things. I just think she had a really, because of the rationing, the food control, the portions, the protein balance, everything else was really good. It was what you needed to fuel your body.
Imagine
and that
your
really
kids nowadays can't have a fruit snack and shit. It'll be like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
right.
Like you guys had yours for the month. What do you mean? You have your one.
How much fruit is in that fruit snack, by the way?
Right, exactly. 100%. Just a whole bunch of little plastic made into some flavoring.
Yep, yummy. That's what I want all day long.
The real answer to your question is those dudes drank water from garden hoses. Period.
That's you, yeah.
Yep.
Same here. I did. I definitely grew up drinking.
There you go.
The warm ass
like
water,
bottled water.
Especially on a hot day, it was like,
hot because you don't freaking wait for it to freaking. Get
yeah, that was the worst. Dude, you turn around, you're like, shit,
you better hold it off
it's hot.
for a second. Yeah, for a few reasons. One, you might get something that was left over in the hose, or two, it's gonna burn your mouth.
You gotta run it for like a minute.
Get that taste out. You
No,
kind of get that
I never
old
waited the minute or
fashioned
two,
taste
dude.
out, bro.
Because that shit was always hot. Like when you first turn the
Yep.
water on, you start drinking, that shit's hot. It's all
Yeah.
get out.
Yeah. Well,
So, all right. So current
Now, would you
event,
do it though? Would you go drink out of the hose today?
I still
No,
do.
there's so much chlorine.
yeah.
and
Why
stuff
not?
in
Who
that.
cares?
I still
It
do.
doesn't matter. Whatever I got back then, it can't be no
Scared
worse
to
than
do it
now.
I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah,
I
and
do
we
it.
just talked about the food we're eating. I'm already getting the shit anyway. Might as well drink the
Yeah,
water too.
right.
Whatever.
Yeah. So like I work outside all day long. So if I'm at a customer's house and I'm thirsty and they got a water hose on the side of the house, I'm turning it on. I'm taking a drink. I've done it.
Shit, man,
I've
you're
done
getting
it.
all
I
the
still
you're
do
getting
it.
all the minerals that you need right there naturally.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I still do it. So
Especially in some of the areas where he is, because they're still on wells down there. So who
yeah,
knows? There
yeah,
might be some Kentucky brown
Well, that
water
shit's
running
clean,
through it.
bro.
it's
Kentucky
well
Next thing
water.
you know,
brown
Willis
water.
is celebrating 106 years. Like, I've
Hey.
been drinking out of a hose for many years, fellas.
Yeah.
So when I was growing up, I lived on a farm. We had our own. We got milk from the cows that we were milking. We had a big garden, so we canned everything. So that's how I grew up. That's what I ate.
10
and
miles to school, uphill both ways.
No,
in
no,
snow.
no,
Yeah,
no,
bro.
no.
Yeah,
Not
there
that.
we go. Telling the grandpa tales.
No, not that. But yeah, we lived on a farm, but we grew
Minus
all the
20.
food that we pretty much ate, and
Yeah.
and still today I try to eat like I'd rather go get a deer and use that for burger and meat instead of going to the grocery store and doing it. So like sometimes we'll buy half a cow or half a pig, and we'll use that from a farm and not from the store because it's better for you if you buy it from a local farm. So,
Dude, have you ever had like anything like in a garden that you grew, like fruit, vegetables? It is like
Tastes so
the
good.
best ever.
yeah.
Like, oh
Yeah.
my gosh. Like you just goes to show you what you're truly missing when it comes to taste.
I would
When you
truly
actually go
die
from
too
like
because I
garden
kill
to the
all that
table,
shit.
bro. Garden to the table, different taste, different flavors.
Yeah. I would not eat. I'd die. I'd kill it all, dude. I try. It grows a little bit and then it goes away, and I'm like, fuck this, man. Let's just go to the grocery store. So I'd be screwed, bro. I'll just come to your house.
yeah.
Gotta
All
have
right,
a
so
great
let,
time.
I don't eat vegetables, so I don't have anything to worry about.
I eat green
I don't
beans.
eat
That's it.
vegetables.
I eat green beans. That's it. And Frank, yes, I did learn how to test the electric fence very early on in life. And the fun thing is when you're the first one and there's two other people and you grab a hold of them and the last one gets shocked, not everybody else. The last one gets shocked. That's always fun. All right, so let's talk about one of the most current events right now, and this affects kind of all of us, really. The war in Iran or conflict in Iran, whatever you want to call it. What do you guys think?
Man,
Good
it's
or
hard
bad?
to actually put any thought into it. I just do know that it definitely hit me a little different. It reminded me of 2003 when I got my orders to get deployed. It kind of just brought it back to like, wow, there's people out there getting ready to get their orders, and they've been training this whole time. And a lot of these guys that are going have all just thought about deploying, right? A lot of them. So I don't know how they're feeling necessarily about it. I know for when it comes to the politics side of the things, I don't even like to touch on that part because it's just straight division. But it definitely hit different this time. I feel like just because it kind of just brought back some memories that I just kind of forgot about a little bit, and then it kind of just made me start thinking. And then I'm thinking, damn, we're gonna have a whole bunch of guys and girls coming back home from a war, and we're gonna be now having to kind of be the big brother and big sisters to these younger generations that are going to come through that we didn't necessarily have when we came out. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
a lot of things are coming through my head when I'm kind of seeing it. I'm still really trying to process it and stuff like that. But I don't feel like anything other than I wish them Godspeed and the most just make it home and have each other's backs. You know what I mean? So
Right. So Frank just says Iran launched a missile at a target that was more than 2,000 miles away. They were definitely a definite threat. Now,
Every president for the past 4 has been talking about the threat that Iran
Yeah.
is, and something
Right.
has to
They're
be
gonna-
done. And
Yeah.
they did nothing.
Yeah.
This president, is-
We gave them billions of dollars.
they did nothing to control the threat.
They don't like to talk about that part, though. I mean, the 400 and something. What is
Was
it?
it C-130 with $4 billion on it, Jud Gunny? I mean, that
in the
is
middle of
crazy.
the night. In the middle of the night.
Yes, yes.
You
yes.
know, so every president has called them a threat and has done nothing other than give them money. This administration is trying to do something.
Yeah.
Is it what needs to be done? I don't know, right? It's one of those things. And like you go back and talk about Iraq, when they were doing the voting, was what they wanted what we did, right? Or were we trying to push our agenda of voting and make it a democratic society instead of what it was?
And
You
we
know,
all know a lot
I
more
was there
now.
for the first. I was there for the first elections.
Yeah, we all
Yeah.
know a lot more now about what we all went over there and did and all that stuff
Yeah.
and the things that came out of that, right? So that's the other part where it's like, you just hope that there's a bigger plan in this whole
Yeah.
thing, and that we don't lose a lot of life over it, and it doesn't become another 20-year freaking war, bro. We don't need that on our hands. We just exited out of that long period of the war. It cost us
Yeah.
trillions of dollars, bro. And now, once again, us being over there in a very far land, it's a lot of money to send those resources over there. Those
In the
Navy
same
ships
region.
cost a lot, and everything that's on those Navy ships cost a shit ton.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back. So Steve-O asked a question down there in the chat about the Department of War saying they're not going to use Geneva Convention. It's hard to fight against an enemy that doesn't believe in the Geneva Convention, and when
They
your
don't
hands
fight-
are
yeah,
when your
they
hands
don't
are
fight it.
tied with certain rules of engagement, it's hard.
I think that the
So,
Department of
you know,
War is
I'm-
just like the president, though. He tends to say a lot of shit that he probably doesn't mean because it sounds good on social media.
Yeah.
But here we go again, right? It's just a here we go again. I
a
always
lot of words.
have I always have the thought process like this. Like, I get that everybody in the past has said they're a threat, right? Got it, 100%. They're a threat. We should look at that. Like, at some point, you have to pull back and fix here. Like, we can't keep going other places and not fixing here. There's too many. Just go down the list. We talked about the veteran with Travis today. You got homeless veterans. You got veterans that can't get their disability. We have a population that is less likely to join the military than we've ever had. Like, we need to stop going and doing this and try to fix your own house first, right? Like, at the end of the day, it needs to be taken care of, but does it have to be done right now with all the other stuff you have going on? Like, it just keeps compounding. It's getting a little crazy.
They're going to create more too, right? Like, I mean, they're going to have guys come home and they're going to have a lot more mental health issues and stuff. There's already been several service members killed. There's people that serve with them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That lost those people that now got to deal with that part and stuff. So now there's going to be a whole bunch more. And then they've already struggled and fumbled all the way through that, bro. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
we see the numbers and suicide and stuff like that. They haven't even got a handle on it at all. That right? I mean, it's you hear all kinds of numbers all over the place. So
Yeah.
for them, like you said, bro, at some point in time, we do got to reel back and concentrate here on our own home soil. We got so many other issues. If you look at how much foreign aid we send off alone,
Yeah.
you know how much we could fix here with just the foreign aid that we
Yeah.
send off to other countries.
That's
So
another
it's
like
playing
3
another
week
war.
conversation.
Yeah.
Keep playing other wars and keep playing other wars with these other countries. Then some of them are not our war, but it's coming out of our resources. I mean,
Yeah.
at some point in time, bro, we got to start looking at this and say, gosh dang, guys, they're going to keep trying to go print more money. The money, the value of dollar is going to go to shame. That's why they're trying to go to a one world dollar and everything. And they're just trying to kill this dollar by
Yeah.
war. And now they're like, oh, we can't get oil because of this either, right? Even though we get like 50-some% from Canada and all this other shit, but they start blaming all this other stuff. So it really just starts breaking the economy. So they know that they're doing this.
Yeah.
It's a systematic thing, bro. They're just trying to
Leapfrogging,
break.
dude. It's
So they
leapfrogging.
why they break the system? They recreate new systems. So
Yeah.
someone is out there trying to recreate something that's going to work into their favor. So just know that everything that we usually do is some reason for another.
Yeah, again, that's what I keep saying. Like, you see all the stuff that's in front of you on a TV, right? It's all there. And there's plenty to look at every day. And every one of us on here can find something that we could jump behind and be like, that's bullshit. And you can find a whole bunch of other stuff that you can be like, he's full of shit. There's a whole bunch of stuff behind that going on that we're just not really good anymore at researching and looking at things. We only look at what's right in front of us. And so that's where that gets in trouble. You know, like, don't get me wrong. We're America and we're the shit, period. Like, we're here to kick ass and take names, right? Like, don't ever doubt that. But at some point, you know, like we keep talking about, again, like this, the perfect open is this kid in Vermont, man. Look at that guy, dude. Like, you want to, we need to have more of that, or do we need to worry about getting help into the system to help with that, right? There's just so much, and we're not privy to it, too. We don't sit in those rooms. We don't get to hear all that shit. There might be some really bad stuff coming we don't know about, so you never know, right? But
Yeah.
it's so hard to see what's right or wrong with what you're looking at.
The thing about it is, with social media, America isn't America, bro. Like, America is impacted by everybody. Like, we're sitting here getting bamboozled sometimes by some troll that's over in Ethiopia, dude. Like, you know what I mean? He's just out there pissing us off, you know, and they're getting into our
Don't read the
politics like
comments.
as though they know it sometimes, you know what I mean? And then it's just, I don't know, bro. I think that we get ourselves so full that America used to be very protected in terms of we only kind of knew what was in front of us, right? And because we weren't preview to the world and the world stage. Now, when you go to social media, dude, you get everybody's stuff, and you don't even know
but
who.
I don't think that really helps, though, because we still haven't changed our perspective of what it means to be an American. Because if you did really pay attention to all the shit you see in the world, half the people that are complaining in the country right now would be like, oh, wait, it's pretty good to live here. Maybe I should look at things different, but they don't. You know what I mean? They just jump on that bandwagon of left and right, mainly because they follow all that shit that's in social media, right? That's why don't read the comments and don't interact, dude, and you'll be all right. But if you do that, just be ready that, to your point, you have no idea like who you're talking to or where they're from or what's going on. Is it a real person? Or are they just really good as an AI going, just say this, it's going to piss them off. And then before you know it, you're calling and raising hell, you know?
Yeah.
Well, I agree with what everyone has said so far, but the thing that we got to really pay attention to is that we have not fixed the problem with our transition and how to get people help after they leave the military. Sure, they may take care of them while they're still serving, and you have your brothers and sisters next to you every day. They
still don't take care of you then, because they take you out of your leadership position and put you in a friggin' admin role.
During
is that
the
helping?
transition. Yes,
is that helping?
No, it's not. I think they need to fix that part before they go on the news and start glorifying all the stuff.
That's why the retention rate sucks. I mean, you know, the military wonders why they got to keep trying, and eventually they're going to have to go to a draft because they're not going to have enough volunteers for this force. Because
the Army already increased their age limit.
Yeah,
they did.
So is the British Army.
The Navy dropped some of their things too because the numbers were dropping so low. The Marine Corps was
you
still
look at the statistics, though. Everybody they would go to draft could not get in.
Nope.
Why?
Yeah.
Mental health problems and weight problems and medication. They're not going to get 100%,
in. Yep.
So,
dude, all these
again,
kids
we need to
nowadays,
fix here, dude.
Nowadays, every kid is diagnosed with ADHD, and then they give them some kind of a medicine, and then that already is something that could disqualify you from
they'll have waivers. They'll do waivers.
It depends on how long they take it. At what age? There's a certain age.
No, well, you got to be off 18 months and a doctor's letter.
Yes, but it's still after a certain age for the Marine Corps. If you were over 13, it didn't matter.
Yeah, but remember now at MEPS, they can see your entire medical history because it's all electronic now.
Yep.
So there is no more going to the recruiter. The recruiter going, you didn't do drugs ever, right? No. Okay, good
You said
answer.
yes a long time ago, and it shows there, bro. On this
exactly.
Freaking,
So like,
you popped on a piss test when you were 11. What are you talking about?
Do not worry, we have solved this in the UK. They are now talking about recalling all of us who have left, just in case. So there's
Oh,
your
dude,
answer.
I'm
Don't
done
get
in
new
like 2
people, get the old
months.
people
We're good.
back.
I can't get
for me-
recalled. I'm
Me
good.
either.
Yeah, I
Grown
can't
That's
get
what we
Well,
all
recall either.
thought.
I'm done.
I mean,
I
I
think-
would if I could, but I can't. Or I just
I missed that
I no
call.
longer qualify for service.
No, thank God
Yeah.
for medical retirement. Said, no, you're done. See you later.
That's
bye."
It is crazy though. I mean, we had the same problem, but
No.
it's just- yeah,
Absolutely not.
no.
I do not agree with that. Not at all,
Conscripts are not good soldiers or servicemen, women.
You gotta
No, I-
want, so you gotta want like it. It's a commitment that you gotta want to be into. Otherwise, it's gonna feel like jail to someone. They're gonna be reluctant, and that there's so many things that come with that. I mean, I wish it was kind of that way because I learned a lot, by joining, and I know that a lot of people did. Whether you got the deploy or didn't deploy, you certainly learned a value of things that real world doesn't teach you. So, at least you can join, but I don't think that if you make everybody do it like as soon as you turn 18, you got to do 2 years or something like that. I think that you're going to have a really bad force of people at that point in time, and now you're going to lose focus of the ones who really want to be there.
Yep.
And now they're just going to get lost in the sauce. And like I feel like and I'm not trying to ding anybody, but I feel like the Army is very big. And so when you hear a lot of some major like things that I've heard, like, and I'm not going to say Marines don't do this, but you do hear a lot of this. Like I've heard like nades thrown in tents of the Army, them going into medical facilities and just offing each other. I mean, I'm just like, wow, bro. Like, and they said these guys were having problems, but do they just get lost because there's so many people? Like I know in our units, a lot of times, boy, we were super close, bro. Like you just knew everybody. You know what I mean? You knew who the schmuckatelli was. You knew who everybody was inside your little group. I know in the Army though, bro, I know that they are just really big in number, and I feel like some of these units are so big that maybe they lose track of some of their people.
Well,
I
So
think
you
all,
think-
all services have that aspect
Yeah.
of it where they have their small teams and then they have a large element, especially like a transportation element or an infantry element. Those are usually a little bit bigger. Obviously, they're broken down into teams and stuff like that. But I think that to say that one service is more populated than the other, I'd have to see the numbers, but I think the MTOs are based off of what their capability is, not necessarily.
Yeah, I mean they're all going to be similar, but like if we could even just bring back that pride of service too, right? That's
Yes.
if we can get that instilled again, that's where the all volunteer force makes sense, right? Because you do get people that want to be there. If you like to the point is made, you force people to be there, they feel like they have to do it. They're in there. We already have a problem asking people to show an ID to fucking vote. Could you imagine if you're telling them you're going to go serve in the military?
Oh,
like
God.
Oh yeah.
there's just all these things that compound into that. And I think again, as
Dude's
we're
just
having
been
this
playing video
conversation-
games for the last 8 years. Like,
Look-
now you
look
want him
at
to go
the-
do something?
Yeah. Look at the algorithm in the cloud there, right? Oh, they increased the age. We're gonna bring a draft. This guy's getting in trouble here. We're going to Iran. This abroad. Like, there's just so much stuff being hit at us. And I mean, I'm just a firm believer. All this crazy bullshit has been happening forever. The only difference is nowadays, like, it is instantaneously in your hand. Before you'd read about it in the paper 3 weeks later and be like, damn, that sucks. Like you just wouldn't see it as much as you do now. And now, I mean, fear drives a lot of shit, dude. So the more fear that they can put out there and show people, like, the more they're going to get charged up. It makes me curse at the TV a lot, so I don't do that much anymore because my wife said I can't be cursing at people on TV because they can't hear me, but I think they hear me for sure. But it's just frustrating to watch because you watch all these different things, or you watch different channels, or getting different perspectives, and they're talking about the same damn thing, and you're like, they just both said different shit. What's true,
Yeah.
right?
yeah.
But also to your point, because it is everywhere, I think it's blown out to be bigger than it actually is. Like you say, it's all these kind of things have always existed. Like the military's always been a microcosm of society. We've always had the extreme behaviors, extreme personalities that have made it through the system. We just are more aware now when something goes wrong, and it's blown out proportion a lot of the time. Whereas if we just had it back to where we had our small, well, not, the British Army is no bigger than the US Marines, so we're quite small anyway, but like handling it in-house the way we used to, as opposed to, oh, look, this dude has suddenly, I don't know, TikToked the whole thing, and now every man and his dog has an opinion.
And
it's
social media has been a killer, I think.
Bro, why that shit is still allowed? Like,
Oh
look,
gosh,
you are not allowed to put shit about your unit
uniform.
on fucking TikTok, dude. Like, if you do that, you should be in trouble. Like,
Yeah,
at
I
what
don't get that
point?
part.
Like, they're living the life on social media. That shit is so
Oh, yeah.
frustrating.
Doing
Beards
it
in the
sit
Navy's
there and-
frustrating. The shit's all frustrating, dude.
And
Well,
then
they're
then you
doing it
see
from
them
a young
complain.
age all the way up to the senior ranks. I mean, it doesn't matter.
Sure.
They're sharing everything these
And
days.
complaining, bro. Yeah, just like some of them are like, just how bad they hate it, and they're just sitting there.
Well,
Just
I mean, they did tell me a
destroying it, bro.
bitchin'
I'm like,
sailor's a happy sailor, so they got to all be happy if they're bitching. You know what I mean?
Right?
It's to the point where it's compromising operational data, right? So we just had in the UK, one of the French destroyer carriers was identified its location by some dude putting his Strava up and running around on deck.
Yeah.
You're like, what kind of fuckwit allowed the dude to have a phone in the first place on operations? But like, it's the standard procedure now. Everyone has their phone because they have to TikTok the damn thing.
Man.
Yeah, social media is. I think social media is going to be very detrimental to all the branches. I mean, because
They're starting to really crack down. I do know that much.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's stupid crazy. You know, here
you
they are
can-
at a fob in Kuwait, and they're doing TikTok lives as bombs are coming in and stuff. It
Bro,
just-
you can watch people running from drones in Ukraine right now, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
straight, like
Well, some
you
of
are
it-
in Call of Duty Modern Warfare, like right now, watching it as if you're playing it on the video game. Like
You do
and
gotta
these
watch
young
out.
kids see that, dude. You know what I mean? It's like oh
But
my
it
gosh.
normalizes in it a way that it shouldn't be part of our society.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
I work with drones in Afghanistan.
Well, I'll tell you what's killing us too. Sorry, Pippa.
Then you go for it.
Is AI. It's just like Steve-O said right there. AI, because I even watched this bombing, and it looked like the dude was like right on it taking a video. I was like, there's absolutely no way that person could have been that freaking close to videoing an explosion that had like a straight up like a mushroom cloud. I was like, dude, that fucking phone would have flew. I mean, there's just no way.
Yeah.
So
We're gullible.
and then I seen other AI videos too of it straight up being guys in military uniform and saying like stupid ass things. You know, but what's wild to me is how many people actually buy into it, right? And that's the scarier part. A lot of us who've joined, we're like, oh, first off, the you could always tell by the uniform something's completely off. You know,
but
they're
don't
wearing
lie.
weird
When you
things.
see those AI videos, you're like, I don't know. A lot of shit has changed in the military today. That shit might be
I
true.
know there is. It does make you question it, man. It does
Yeah,
make
it
you
does.
question a lot of it. But that's the problem with AI. Now you don't know what's real and what's not, man.
Well,
And, and that's the
Brian,
scary
let's
part.
talk about what is real. I mean, listen to what our president and our secretary of war is saying publicly to everybody in this country right now. They are glorifying the shit out of everything that we're doing. We're going to bomb this person. We're going to kill their ass. We're going to do all this stuff. I mean, listen to the way that they're talking about this. They're not, they're making it sound great, but we have all these problems with the people who have been serving in war the past 20 or 30 years.
Yeah.
They're not saying what war actually does to a person. They're just saying, let's go kill their ass.
Yeah.
It's the Hollywood version.
Yeah,
the
So
Hollywood
that's the part
version,
about
yeah.
it is they the resources that they get or they use is only to apply towards the mission, you know, mission critical stuff. And they don't realize that we are a brand. We carry our service with us. Like once a Marine, always a Marine. That is instilled into us from the day that we go and step on those yellow footprints. So when we get out, we're gonna call ourselves fucking Marines, and we're gonna represent ourselves as Marines. Do you want us to be that guy that's the broken dude and all that stuff, or do you want us to be that hard charger that's out there leading the way and showing people, you know, how we can get along together regardless of fucking what color you are, what religion you are, what your political stance is, you know, and there's a lot of things that we can show, but you know, I feel like they put such a stigma on us, like that story that we were just talking about. They go out there, they make him a threat. They make him seem like he's, a god awful person, and now they just accentuate it. Now his community now is like, oh, there's that guy, and now everybody, no matter what, bro, you put that perception, good or bad, into the public, it's left up for their perception on how, wherever their perception gauge is. And everybody's perception gauge is completely different. Perception isn't always reality. It's perception is what you make reality sometimes.
How many people have kids, and their kids will say, I thought about coming to your house at nighttime or something like that, but I know your dad's a veteran. ...
No, I never had that.
I've had
never
that.
had that.
I've had that. My dad, my dad even said one time, he's like, I'm afraid, because we that's a whole situation. But we were fighting at one time, and he didn't even want to come over here. There's a stigma of a veteran, believe it or not, that we are off the rails and we have the ability to be dangerous. Like, we have absolutely no emotional intelligence whatsoever. And it's absolutely not the truth. Yeah, we may have our flip-flops more than the average person, maybe, because I would say that people in the lower income bracket, they have a lot more ups and downs than the average veteran, probably. But we're definitely demonized as these people that are off the rails and can't be trusted.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I appreciate what everybody on this panel kind of does and has podcast shows and stuff, right? Like, so now what you guys are doing is you're bringing reality to others that may not get that experience. Now we're sharing our world with them. Right now, we're kind of trying to bridge that gap. Hopefully, in some of these shows, family members are watching this, because I hope that a lot of times too, so that way they can get a little bit of an understanding why some of us lose our shit. We go 0 to 60, why we think the way we do, why we check exits and all these types of things. After so many different interviews and so many different people and listening to them, you get a very good, clear picture. Like, these are good people in your community, so don't just, put them off in the corner and leave them in the dark. Go over there and say, hey, thank you for your service. Shit, man, I appreciate you. All those kind of things, because less than 1% of the world right now is serving our country, dude. And there's only 5 or 6%, something to that effect, that are actually veterans that serve their country. So a large portion of the world has no idea what this panel and a lot of our brothers and sisters have gone through.
All right, guys, it's about that time. We need to wrap it up. So let's running it around. Brian, you remember how to end the show? We'll start with you.
All right. Well, hey, wanted to say thank you guys for having me back on. You guys ever get a chance, check out Every Day's a Saturday, USMC Veteran. We have a coffee talk element, and we're talking about yelling out loud. Thank you guys. I hope you guys have an amazing day. Don't let the day kick your ass. Make sure you're out there kicking it. We'll see you guys.
Awesome. Matthew Johnson.
I forgot how to end the show, but I'm just going to go off what he did. Thank you for having me. I'm glad I get to get on and talk with everybody. Triple Threat Vets, we're live every Thursday at 7. Tomorrow we got an amazing guest. Don't ask me his name because I forgot. Ty does all that stuff. I just interview. If you're a veteran, go out there and talk to somebody in the community. We just ended this thing with saying, a lot of people don't know a lot about us, but I do think that there's a big portion of us that needs to get out and let people know who we are. It can't just be on a podcast. It should just be out in your everyday community. So if you want to make a difference, go get involved in your community. Do something. Go to a VFW, go to an American Legion, go to a school and volunteer, whatever. Be the crossing guard. But get out there, get involved, and get some purpose, and you'll see that people will look at us a lot differently because we just go to continue to do the things we did in service. And with that, hope to see you guys next month.
Heck yeah, brother. JJ, you're up, sir.
Well, I don't think I could have said it better than what people have said so far, but I will say that feel free to check out what I'm doing out there. Speak Up, Show Up, Lead. That's the name of my podcast. You can check out my book. I have Speak Up, Show Up, Lead. That's the name of it as well. But I just appreciate everybody, especially you, Willis, for allowing me to come back on here and share my opinions. I'm glad I'm still able to be a part of the group here.
Well, we're glad you're here, and you're welcome back anytime. Miss Pippa, you're up.
Thank you all for having me. It's been a while. I think I'll leave you with, we've talked about sort of the perils of social media a few times. I think what I see from the UK and in Europe, it's really easy to be offended. It's really easy to be polarized. But when you talk to people, we are all flesh and blood. And so before you get angry, before you judge the veteran, before you judge whoever, try and have a conversation. Just try and reach out and kind of go, we are more alike than we are different. Because I think right now we need to remember that.
Amen. Mr. Travis, you're up.
Sure. First of all, thank you to everyone on the panel for listening to me talk about Joseph Millett, JJ, and I'll be having his family and other people on to tell their side of the story. And what I'm hoping happens is, at the very least, we get some clarity. But the best case scenario is kind of like with what the VA tried doing with veterans getting prescription, medication, then being classified as healed. Therefore, they no longer qualify for VA care and benefits. I think people didn't understand how the veteran community would come together. And if this does get legs, if we actually come to this decision that this is actually, worthy of taking up the charge and fighting for this, I hope that people understand that when you mess with one of us, you mess with all of us, and that no one fights alone. So this is a small slice of that mindset, and I'm happy to be part of it. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Travis. First off, I want to say thank you for everybody that came out to Tip of the Spear, all the panelists and everybody that's come, whether they're commenting here on any of the platforms over here on TikTok as well. I want to say thank you to all of you guys. And I love doing the Tip of the Spear because we all have difference in opinions on everything that goes on within the veteran community and globally, right? So we get to talk about all of that. And the good thing is once we're done, we're still friends afterwards, and that's the good thing. We can all have different opinions. You know, we got Miss Pippa from across the pond there. Her view on things might be a little bit different than our view on things because, for one, she's a lot closer to it than we are. Right? She's there. So her opinion is going to be different. So I want to say thank you for all of our panelists, and I can't wait for next month. I think it's on the 29th next month. Let's see, April 29th. Yes, so April 29th will be the next Tip of the Spear. So come back, check us out then. Make sure you go like, share, and follow any of these veteran podcasts that was on here. Um, every one of them is putting out great content out there. So make sure you go check them out on all social medias. And then I'm gonna leave you with this right here. Um, in the silence of your struggles, remember, though unseen, you are deeply held in the hearts of others. You're not alone. And I know we were talking about reaching out and talking to somebody. This right here, the uniform may come off, but the bond remains. And together we heal. Together we rise. And together we carry each other forward. If you don't want to call 988 because you're afraid, reach out to another veteran. They're not mandatory reporters. If you just need to get it off, reach out to another veteran. Find somebody that can be in your tribe, and that's who you need to reach out to. Like we always say on Tip of the Spear, stay safe out there. We got your six.